There are two vital components that are necessary to help you recover from any type of injury. First is your body's ability to get some effective rest. Second is your ability to sleep. I'm going to review with you some proper sleeping positions with some modifications that should give you your best chance of a good night's sleep with minimizing your pain. The first up is you back sleepers. If this is a position you like to sleep in, that's fine with me. So a couple modifications we can do. When people are sleeping on the back, what they typically like to do is your head will like to look up, your natural curve of your spine likes to look up. So if you can take a towel roll and just take a towel roll, put it here, put it inside the pillowcase, and so it's just at the base of your neck. It doesn't need to be too big, unless you like it big. From that position, that's a little more comfortable. It takes up that space in your neck. The second option is if you have a slight forward head posture and you can't get into extension, that's the way you are. What you can do is take that space up with the pillow, and so you're still, again, more comfortable here. A third option for that is you can grab the pillow and pull it down around your neck, almost like you're pulling your collar tight, and then that way it gives you more support for your head so you don't look right or tend to lean right or left. Now, up here also while we're here, shoulders above your head. I get this all the time with patients. I have shoulder pain. Well, I always ask, how do you sleep? With my hands above my head. The hands above your head, your shoulder has a poor blood supply anyway, so by doing this, you minimize your chance of recovery because you're cutting off the blood supply even more the hours that you're sleeping. Now, so hands back here. The final option with this is because your back typically likes to extend with the natural curvature of your back. If you have tight hip flexors here, or if you feel like your back is not touching the bed much, you're arching up, you can just put a pillow underneath your knees, and by that, it decreases the stress on the front of the hip flexors and allows your back more contact with the table. So that's modifications in your back. Let's move on to the next one. Next up is your side sleepers. For those of you that like the towel roll that we used underneath your neck when we were on your back, let's do the same thing. Just roll up a towel roll, put it underneath in the pillowcase here, so it just takes up the natural curve of your neck and could be more comfortable. The thing I don't like about this, if you notice her head is down too low. It's not in line with her body. So think about sleeping this way. You're going to get compression on this side and stretch on this side the whole night while you're sleeping. So the way to easily correct that, put in a second pillow. So second pillow, again, doesn't need to be too big. Do what you ideally want your head in line with your spine, so it's a nice flat position. Let's go back to the shoulder. If in this case, her down shoulder she's directly on it and she has shoulder pain, one way you can get away with it if you like to sleep on your side is you can push your shoulder blade forward some. Now you're a little bit more on your shoulder blade. The only possibility or problem with that is if you don't have the mobility to keep it on the bed, you're gonna have to have your pillow long enough so you don't have to go all the way flat with your arm. If the up shoulder is the problem and you're back on your side, and this is the painful one, the normal resting position of your shoulder is your elbows a little bit forward and your forearm is parallel to the table and a little bit away from your body. So how we can accomplish that is through a lot of pillows. Let's take a big one to start with, and for some people that may be enough. For her, I want a second pillow here. So put in a second pillow, and our elbow is a little bit away from her body, it's slightly in front of her body, and her forearm is parallel to the table. So that's a good comfortable position while she's on her side. Now, let's move down a little bit. Let's take all these pillows out, and if you're on your side and you like to sleep with your knees on top of each other, that's fine too. But look at the position from her hip to her knee, and you have that downward slope. That downward slope is going to cause her hip to rotate as well as her low back to rotate. So if those of you who have back pain issues, this may be a good one for you. So I want to put a pillow between her knees and her feet. And the reason why her feet is because if I don't, you're still going to have a rotation here, which is going to cause, again, rotation of the hip, rotation of the low back. In this case, I still got a little bit of a downward slope. So I'm going to opt for a second pillow here. And now her thigh is pretty much parallel to the table. That's a good comfortable position. If she likes to sleep this way with your leg forward and the knee out in front of you, again, that's okay too. But I want enough pillows that will allow her to keep her thigh parallel to the table. So that position. Now I'm not getting the rotation here, not getting the rotation low back, should be a pretty comfortable position. There you have it for side sleeping. For those of you that can't decide whether to sleep on your stomach or your side, this is a good option for you. Notice how she's lying in this position, not really on her stomach, but not really on her side. She has a real thin pillow that's going to help keep her neck in a good neutral position. In this position, you really don't even have to have a pillow if you don't want to. If you have too thick of a pillow, your head's going to be kinked up all night long and potentially going to give you neck pain or even your hand and arm going numb. Notice that her elbow is below her shoulder, and that's a good neutral position for the shoulder. If her hand is above in this position, now you're going to risk shoulder pain and neck pain. From here, the back arm is definitely behind her, and it needs to stay behind her. If your shoulder and your hand get up above your head on the back shoulder, this is going to give you even more shoulder pain and potentially arm numbness. Now, that's good up here. Let's go down to this position. From her hip and her knee are bent, and what that allows her back to do is flatten more in a neutral type position and alleviating this pressure from being overextended. Another option from here is to take a pillow and put it halfway underneath their stomach with kind of a belly button and not underneath the leg, and her arm can be on there as well. And what this does is equalize pressures and disperses the forces across her stomach and her body while she's laying on the bed. So this is a good option while you're a stomach side sleeper. Hope this works for you. Here we are at the least popular position people like to sleep in, is the stomach sleepers. But if this gives you a good night's sleep, let's talk about some options. Notice how she's laying on her stomach with a slight pillow. You don't want too thick of a pillow because you're going to end up with your head kinked up all night long in a bad position, potentially giving you some neck pain, or your hand may go numb. Also notice that her elbow is below her shoulder, and so in this position your shoulder has a good blood supply. If you put your hands above your head in this position, you're going to end up with your hands being numb or your arm or shoulder pain throughout the night. Let's move down to this position. Typically what happens is your stomach will sag into the mattress just because gravity takes over while we're rested. So what you can do to combat that is raise up, put a small pillow underneath kind of your belly button in the front of your hips. And what that does is allow your back to be in a more flat position or neutral position that may be good for you. If that still isn't as comfortable as it could be, well, let's go down to the legs. You can raise the legs up, put another pillow slightly underneath the shins, and now that takes pressure off the front part of the hip, again, allowing the back to go more in a flat or neutral type position and should be comfortable. Hopefully this position is good for you to get some good sleep. I know that's a lot of information in a short amount of time, but pick the one that pertains to you and work on getting a good night's sleep. This is Paul Drumheller reporting from 3 Dimensional Physical Therapy in Tacoma, Washington.